Welcome to all those who come to hear my tales. Tonight we make a trip to Illinois' windy city of Chicago, highly industrialized in the heart of violence, known for having gangsters and ties to the mob. But tonight we explore the case of another monster, the Piasa Bird. The local tribes have told legends of thunderbirds long before it became a state. Giant birds that had a 10-plus wingspan and stole children from their backyards. However, this is not a thunderbird in our tale, but the Piasa bird. Not really a bird, even though it flies, but more of a creature just as feared, a dragon. Before we begin our tale, I have a small request for you. Like, follow, and click the bell overhead. This will let you know when I post recent videos every weekend. Now on to our tale. Piasa Bird. My cousin John lived in Alton, Illinois. There a large creature ruled the air and hunted people for prey. My uncle would often tell us children the local legends, especially warning us of the dragon. To me, the Piasa bird was the most frightening. A great warrior named Chief Uatoga was credited with destroying the creature long ago. But few realized the creature was female, and that she had unhatched eggs hidden in a cave nearby. John did not believe any of this, and laughed at my expression when I heard that awful name. Me and John were close growing up, but complete opposites. I was quiet, serious, and did not care for practical jokes. John was loud, reckless, and loved playing practical jokes. The joke was usually on me. As we got older, it never really changed. I preferred staying inside, my nose crammed in a book, while John was often exploring the wilderness we lived next to. He would try in vain to get me to go in the woods with him. One day he succeeded. I do not like the woods. And after that day, I will never go back in them again. What happened will haunt me for all my years to come. He claimed to know where the dragon nest was, saying he saw it before. It was a large lizard, the size of a bull, and had no eyes. Instead, he had two empty holes with flames burning inside them. A pair of large wings rested over his back, and its scales were black, red, and green. A set of large antlers rested on top of his head. and the tail was exceptionally long, covering almost the length of the body. It ended in a fish fin, but the head was the strangest of all. It was not human, more like a lizard, although you could watch it. As the creature moved, changed, so did his face. Like a man, expressions of anger and lust would change the face. The mouth was full of red, stained teeth, stained from human blood. I know it sounds crazy, but he was so serious. I believed him, which was itself strange, but not as strange as my next words I told to him. Show me. We walked deep into the woods, an hour's walk, if not more. He led me to a large lake, which was overshadowed by a massive cliff. The cliff looked smooth and would be impossible to climb. A few bushes and small trees stood at the base. Could they possibly hide the cave? But my attention was drawn to the quiet and serene lake behind us. It was beautiful, as the water reflected the light from the sky above. I found myself pondering how deep it went when an idea overcame me. What if the dragon cave is under the water? My question was answered soon. A massive shape exploded from the depths. We both were showered in water as the thing took to flight overhead. It landed between us and the cliff, water dripping from its massive wings as it watched me. Water dripped down from the mane like a lion's face. But his face was grinning at me, smiling, exposing those blood-stained teeth. To say I was terrified was an understatement. That human-looking lizard face, surrounded by a lion's mane, was now smiling at me. My heart raced as I realized it really had no eyes, just two empty sockets in his face, which held a flame in each one. It shook the mane as a large cat or a dog would when they were wet. The sunlight shined on his dark green, black, and red scales. Smoke rose from its nostrils as it chuckled at me. I was frozen in fear and astonishment. John found a large rock and threw at the beast, trying to draw his attention from me. The tail shot out, slammed into him, tearing flesh to bone. It shot fire at me by grabbing my bleeding cousin with his tail. I dodged the attack as the water hissed from the steam rising from it now. The tail wrapped around John like a hand. He struggled, but it did no good to. I screamed and threw what I could at the monster. It only flew higher. My cousin, now the scared one. He grabbed the tail as the height rose, holding on to it like a lifeline, not daring to look down. The creature now was barely visible in the sky, and I prayed my cousin would live to see tomorrow, not worrying about myself anymore. That's when it dived down, flying fast and head first into the cliff's face. His scales shine in the sunlight. Reflecting it back. Almost blocking my sight. John screamed as panic set in, and the creature only laughed. It turned before hitting the cliff, but threw John into it. The force and the speed the dragon flew was devastating. His head exploded and his body bounced off the cliffside down to the floor below. Once again it laughed at me. Then it screamed. The sound made my hold my ears as it was a loud and inhuman noise to bear. I couldn't think. I couldn't look. I'd only hold my ears, closing my eyes and hoping all this was a dream. I fell to my knees as I could no longer hold my weight. The dragon grabbed John's body and flew away, leaving me to my screams, all alone. I got to my feet and ran back home, watching over my shoulder for the shadow overhead. I crashed through the front door and told Uncle everything. He called a friend and grabbed his shotgun as we went out to his truck. His friend showed up and had a larger gun with him, and we drove out to where I showed them. Uncle dived into the lake, as his friend watched the sky overhead. It was a long time before he came back, but he did return. He spoke of caverns under the water, but no sign of his boy. A search party came looking for him, but he was gone. They did find his shoes, bloody feet still in them. A spot stained the cliff where my cousin died. It was a permanent spot. As far as I know, it's still there to this day. I look up at the sky from that day on, when he died, and the nightmares began. Ones where the beast laugh at me, as its children ate my screaming cousin alive. Some nights I would just hear that unholy scream echo in the dark. I would see the stain on the cliff. I hear him call to me, but could not find him. I moved away when I was old enough to, and never looked back. Oh, I would visit now and then, but always keeping an eye on the sky. The nightmares have never stopped as the years fade away. I fear it will haunt me until I lay my head down one last time. Maybe then I will find my cousin laughing at me. I will leave this life together. Hope you enjoyed this tale. Come back next week as we explore yet another state. The state of Indiana. And together we find out what monster, legend, or ghost hides in that state. And as always, beware of those found in the Shadowlands.